All right, everybody, welcome to the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas, and just having some connection issues, so I'm trying to get it figured out right away here. So just stand by while I try to connect to the network once again. If you would be so kind, just one moment, please. One moment, please. Please stand by as I try to correct this. I'm not sure what was going on, but it seems like our network, that is our mother network for the Paranormal Portal, TFR, was having some issues here. So let's try to reconnect now. Let's see. Did it work? Hello, are we getting through? Testing 1, 2, 3 TFR. Can you hear me? I'm hoping that it will. I'm just waiting for verification from our dear friend Lucky, who is also an admin over there. So once we get this tied up, then we can get moving with the show. But let's see what happens if anything is coming through. Oh no, it went unavailable. That's weird. Okay. Well, apparently I can't get it to do anything on here. Let me just message to let them know. Yeah. Unavailable. So how you guys doing? Happy Friday, first of all. Sorry for the confusion here on startup, but this is what happens with live streams. There's no bouncing it off or screwing it up or troubleshooting. So all I can do is just try to do it on the fly and do it as gracefully as I know how, which probably isn't all that graceful, but what do I do? I'm not IT, but I'm just it. All right, that kind of humor is free all night. So, folks, welcome to the Paranormal Portal. For now, we'll just continue on with the show and keep going forward, as we love to do here on the show. But this is the Paranormal Portal, our home for all things paranormal. And, I'd love to introduce my co-host, but tonight, ladies and gentlemen, my co-host is a very, very dear presence in my life. It's all of you. You are my co-host tonight, ladies and gentlemen, in the chats, and I will love to have you talk to me throughout the show. And, of course, you can always call in if you want. The phone is working. I know the phones are working anyway, and the number for the show is 720-923-0500. Before I go any further, let me thank the sponsor of the Paranormal Portal, and that is our good friends over at Cryptid Coin. If you're not familiar with Cryptid Coin, ladies and gentlemen, it's the newest and exciting entry into cryptocurrencies. And Cryptid Coin is one that really means a lot to me because they are making it their mission to help promote and to propagate the cryptid community. And I'm really excited about that. The another cool thing is that it's easier to get now than ever. It's available on PancakeSwap, which is a big trading platform. So if you want to get involved in Cryptid Coin, by all means, please do so. As with anything, it's an investment, which means it can do many things. But with all of us together investing in the cryptid community, I think it's going to do amazingly. Just my own personal opinion, and I have, I'm not an investment consultant or advisor, but I'm really thrilled that they're sponsoring the Paranormal Portal. And to learn more about Cryptid Coin, check them out at cryptidcoin.io. Again, cryptidcoin.io, and learn so much more. And one other announcement before I go further, and that is, we on the Paranormal Portal, and I mean Don and I don't think Sheldon will be able to make it, but you never know. Things may change by then. But at least for now, in September, Don and I are going to be in Vernal, Utah from the 8th to the 11th. And what are we doing there, you may ask? Well, let me tell you, we're going to Phenomicon. And Phenomicon is a fantastic production down there. It's a great conference. And they have such an amazing laundry list of talent and individuals coming to talk and to present and to take part in the events. And as you can see them on the screen now, we've got, big ones. April Slaughter's she's a paranormal investigator. Dr. Jeff Meldrum, I don't think anybody in the cryptid or at least Bigfoot communities doesn't know who this guy is. He's just one of those fantastic people that is not only an enthusiast of the Bigfoot phenomena, but he's also a doctor. I mean, he's a professor in Idaho State University, so it really lends a lot of credibility to the search, as did John Green, as did so many others that have come before him, and I have a dyslexia for names, so I just forgot the other ones that I was going to rattle off. But anyway, that's really cool. We got Russell Accord is going to be there. Of course, he is from Expedition Bigfoot, as is his compatriot Ronnie LeBlanc, and Dr. Maria Mayer is going to be there as well. There's Bob Gimlin's going to be there, folks. Adam Davis. These are all these people that I'm mentioning, other than the other two on Expedition Bigfoot. I don't know the other two, but I do know Russ. He's just a fantastic guy. Just a neat person to know. I see that Stacy Brown's going to be there. So many people are going to be there at Phenomicon, and you can go to phenomicon.net to learn more about this. But if you do stop in, make sure you find us. We're going to be there. We're going to have a booth, so stop by and say hello, and we hope to see you there. Again, that's Phenomicon in September 8th through the 11th in Vernal, Utah. And that's go to phenomicon.net for more information. So that's exciting, and I'm really happy to be a part of that. That one's going to be fun. That's kind of it on the front end of the laundry list anyway, and I guess from here, let me just take a look. I did get another message. See if something came up on this. Okay, I see that. They're working on it now. So at any rate, if that comes online, we will join the network again. But for now, we won't have to take breaks, which I guess in and of itself is kind of nice, because we can just continue to flow with the information. But first, the first stop that information is going to make is to the news. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Paranormal Portal News Desk. I'm your anchor, Brent Thomas, and I'm bringing you all the news that I could find for you. Hopefully it's all good. I see that that's up, but I'm just talking to myself, sorry. Again, multitasking is not my strength. I'm kind of a serial monotasker. And when I try to multitask, it doesn't work out real well. So let's see what the first article I got here was. Yeah, this one's not too long. This one's, I don't know if it's a big thing or not. I mean, it is a big thing, and you'll see what I mean in just a second, but I don't know if it's a big thing for us. And what I'm talking about is an article from unexplained-mysteries.com. Fantastic site. Please check them out. NASA reveals discovery of largest comet ever seen. Oof. So I don't know what that means. That's what I mean. It's a big thing. It's the largest comet ever seen, but is it a problem for us? I don't know. This enormous comet is thought to have a nucleus 50 times larger than would normally be expected. First discovered by astronomers Pedro Bernardinelli, and Gary Bernstein in 2010, the comet has more recently gained renewed attention thanks to the new observations by the Hubble Space Telescope. The data has revealed that its nucleus weighs 500 trillion tons and measures 35 miles in width, which is larger than Rhode Island, making this the largest comet known to science. While its current trajectory has it careening towards us at 22,000 miles per hour, there's no need to panic. Even at its closest approach in 2031, it will not stray nearer than 1 billion miles from the sun. It doesn't sound like a big thing, but I mean, I guess when it's that big, I don't know. Those kind of things just fascinate me, how much they can glean, I don't know, by mathematics and all these other methodologies to be able to track and trace and figure out where the paths are going to be. That's such like 5-brain math going on there. It's crazy. It says, we've always suspected this comet had to be big because it is just so bright at such a large distance, said planetary scientist David Jewett from the University of California, Los Angeles. Now we confirm it is. The comet follows a long elliptical path around the solar system, with even a single orbit taking 3 million years to complete. At its furthest distance, it can travel up to half a light year away from the sun. Wow, so that's quite a big trajectory, I guess. I wonder how fast those things move. I mean, it's got to be astronomical. I'm so dumb. Sorry. Yeah, you get what you paid for. Yeah, but that's cool. Biggest comet, ladies and gentlemen. That's leading us off on our newscast tonight. Let's get to the next one. And this one is also from unexplained-mysteries.com. And what is it saying? Mysteryarcophagus found in Notre Dame will soon be opened. So apparently, due to the fire in there, they found this Mysteryarcophagus in Notre Dame. And I don't remember ever hearing about that before, but there you have it. I guess they're going to open it. It says the coffin was unexpectedly discovered in the bowels of the cathedral following the devastating fire. When the news broke that the iconic Parisian cathedral had become shrouded in flames back in 2019, countries around the world united in expressing their sadness and dismay. While the fearless efforts of firefighters ultimately managed to save the building from being totally destroyed, it will take years to fully restore the cathedral to its former glory. There's at least one upside to the disaster, however, the discovery of previously unseen relics hidden deep within the structure. One of these, a large stone sarcophagus thought to date back to the 14th century, was found during preparatory work to rebuild Notre Dame's spire. As things stand, nobody knows who is interred inside. However, an explanation of its contents using an endoscopic camera has revealed that it does contain a skeleton as well as several artifacts. Having been carefully extracted from the cathedral grounds last week, the sarcophagus could be opened in the very near future, revealing its secrets for the first time in several centuries. With any luck, it will be possible to determine the age, gender, social status, and perhaps even identify the deceased individual interred within it. To have been buried under Notre Dame itself, however, it must have been quite important. Whoever it is must have been quite important, I think is what they're saying, and this looks like it's it. It's a leaden sarcophagus discovered in the bowels of Paris's Notre Dame Cathedral after it was devastated by fire. Will soon be opened and its secrets revealed. Well, there you have it, folks. I guess we'll have to wait for any updates on that, but that is interesting. Is it paranormal? No, not really, but it's interesting. And you don't normally hear of that in cathedrals, that there are unknown bodies interred within it. But at any rate, that's the second article tonight in our newscast. Let's see what's going on in our next one. And this is, again, from unexplained-mysteries.com. And it says, this is I think there is. This one's kind of right up our alley here. It says, is there alien tech lying in the bottom of the sea? Which is quite interesting because actually it's not uncommon to hear of UFOs going into the ocean, coming out of the ocean, well, going into bodies of water. And I suppose it makes sense if they want to be undisturbed. I guess the best way to do it is go someplace where we're not. And the one place that we very rarely visit is underwater. Outside of, in the deeper ocean or a murky lake or something, perhaps. I think they just probably do that to stay out of sight for the most part. But perhaps there's other reasons that they do it. But could it be possible that something went wrong and there's ships lying down there? Maybe. It's certainly, with as many of them as crashed on the land, I can imagine the ocean must be even fuller. But you'd think if they were being careful, though, they'd if one of them does crash, it's like how we believe Bigfoot buried the bodies. I can't believe the aliens would just leave their stuff laying around, but maybe they lose track of it. Harvard physicist Avi Loeb has suggested that some interstellar meteorites could be artificial in nature. Mm-hmm. He said that about Oumuamua, the weird-shaped one it was very long and rather flat, and he felt that could very well be an extraterrestrial technology. whether it's their junk or something manufactured in another planet, universe, whatever, that kind of swung by us. And so I really got to, my hat's really off to that guy, because he says it. He says these things that I think all of us are thinking, but you wouldn't expect it from a Harvard guy, but he did. So I really tip the hat to him. That's really cool. Earlier this month, it was revealed by the U.S. Space Command, USSC, that a fast-moving fireball, which exploded over Papua New Guinea 8 years ago, actually originated from outside of our solar system. Predating the discovery of interstellar visitor Oumuamua in 2017, whatever remained of this object, if anything, would have ended up falling to the bottom of the ocean. According to Loeb, something to consider is whether such an object, especially if it has come from interstellar space, has the potential to be a piece of extraterrestrial technology. Given its small size and the vast area in which it now lies, however, finding it would be a tough ask. Even so, Loeb has an answer to this too, suggesting the use of scooping magnets that could scour the vast swatches of the Pacific seafloor for fragments of this and other interstellar visitors. Our discovery of an interstellar meteor heralds a new research frontier, he wrote in a recent article on the subject. The fundamental question is whether any interstellar meteor might indicate a composition that is unambiguously artificial in origin. Better still, perhaps some technological components would survive the impact. Of course, the question is currently impossible to answer, and the chances of such a likelihood seem slim. However, Loeb has set his sights on one day getting his hands on such a find. My dream is to press some of the buttons on a functional piece of equipment that was manufactured outside of this Earth, he said. Yeah, but what I'm thinking, okay, so oftentimes we talk about what is advanced technology to us. For instance, a cell phone today. Whoops, not without the note. A cell phone today. And it's absolutely fascinating and fantastic. It's like, wow, look at that. It has a screen and you can touch it and stuff. But if you were to bring this back to, let's say, medieval Europe and show them what it is, I don't know if they would recognize it as technology, or would it just seem like a magical glass that you can make things happen in? And even if they could open it, would any of that make sense to them? So looking at ourselves, and we have quite a huge expanse of knowledge. I mean, it's really growing exponentially, geometrically. It's fascinating how fast we're learning things and expanding our abilities. But what would we recognize that alien technology? Or would it look just like perhaps a leaf without when you have a leaf in a body of water and like all of the flat parts just kind of evaporate and fade away, and you're left with this web work of what would be organic matter? Now, I would think that the more progress we make, the more we're going to realize that the technology, our technological future, is being demonstrated in the world around us. Like it will look like plant matter probably, or we won't have fiber optic cables and stuff. We'll probably have, something that looks different than that. Like it would maybe be more like a spinal cord, like our technology will mimic what nature creates naturally. And I really think that there's something to that. So to us, we might find a rock that looks like it has veins in it and be like, well, that's weird. Some plant matter grew in this rock and created all these little holes and crevices and stuff. But will we recognize the technology even if we found it? And I'm not sure we would. But anyway, that's me postulating and inserting my own 2 cents. That's for free. You don't even have to pay more for that. So, but I think there's something to that. I think that future technology will look a lot like the biological things that exist around us. All right. Well, that's just my thought. I hope you guys agree. I hope that makes sense. I don't have a Don filter here, so everything I say just goes absolutely unchallenged and unfiltered. So you're getting the raw. You're getting me raw. That didn't sound good at all. Okay, it's just like Don's here again. I'm just playing both roles. But yeah, I think that, the technology would probably look something very different than what we're used to, and we may not even recognize it if it was sitting on the ground in front of us. All right, let's go to the next article in our newscast tonight. And this is from unexplained-mysteries.com. Newly upgraded Large Hadron Collider could solve the mystery of dark matter. Or perhaps open black holes. We're not sure. No, I don't know. I certainly believe that doing these experiments does run the risk of any number of different things that we weren't expecting, because we're just like, hey, let's slam matter together almost at the speed of light and see what happens. Well, think of all the things that could happen. I don't know. Again, I'm sure they obviously know a hell of a lot more than any of us, or me at least, but I don't know. They upgraded it. So what does that mean? It's more powerful? Let's see what it says. After a 3-year hiatus, the iconic Atom Smasher is preparing to begin a new era of scientific discoveries. Okay, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't long. Having previously confirmed the existence of the elusive Higgs boson particle, the Large Hadron Collider, which is situated near Geneva in Switzerland, is getting up to its third run, having been upgraded and improved during a lengthy maintenance period spanning 3 years. In the very near future, scientists at the facility will be turning on the world's largest atom smasher in the hopes of bringing about a host of exciting new discoveries. The team will be particularly keen to find evidence of dark matter, a mysterious form of matter which, despite making up a large percentage of the mass of the universe, has never been directly observed. The collider has been significantly upgraded since it's last fired, and there are plans to conduct experiments for 3 years before it will be shut down for yet another set of upgrades. We're going to increase the number of collisions drastically, and therefore the probability of new discoveries also, said Control Room Operations Head Rend Stierenberg. He added, however, that turning on the collider after the upgrade will be a tense exercise. It's not flipping a button, he told Reuters. This comes with a certain sense of tension and nervousness. It will be very interesting indeed to see what, if anything, the collider discovers over the upcoming months. Yeah, I guess it will. I've heard all kinds of horror stories, and I realize that a lot of them are basically creepypastas, people just creatively writing and stuff. But I don't know, some of them you got to wonder, maybe some of the weird stuff that's going on is perhaps an offshoot of this. Like, for instance, there's some people that believe that potentially the whole Mandela effect might be as a result of running machines like this. Like perhaps it's making us skip dimensional realities, or shifting us, or something. It's pretty fascinating to think about, and also unnerving, I guess. But in any case, we'll find out, because I'm sure they're going to turn it on whether we think it's a good idea or not. All right, let's get to the next one on our newscast tonight. And this is coming from, get it over on the screen. This one is coming from unexplained-mysteries.com. Declassified files reveal AATIP's out there research. I think this is the Advanced Threat Identification program that Luis Elizondo was leading for a long time. Let's see what it says. The U.S. government's secretive UFO program did more than investigate sightings of unidentified aerial phenomena. Incredibly, it turns out that government scientists working for the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program had also been investigating a whole host of out there technologies and scientific concepts. Where'd they get those? Where did they get stuff to test? Roswell, anyone? Hello? Let's see what it says out there, such as anti-gravity, wormholes, and invisibility cloaks. That wouldn't have seemed out of place in a science fiction movie. This is, at least according to a treasure trove of some 1,600 declassified documents recently acquired by Motherboard following a Freedom of Information Act request. Some of the files, known as Defense Intelligence Reference Documents, discuss concepts including traversable stargates and negative energy, as well as high-frequency gravitational wave communications, warp drive, dark energy, and the manipulation of extra dimensions. Now, hold on a sec. Didn't we just learn that dark matter is so far just theoretic? So how are they testing dark energy if we haven't even identified it? Does that make sense? Is it just me, or are both of those two different articles in contrast with each other? Right? I mean, is it just me? But anyway, manipulation of extra dimensions. There's also references to negative mass propulsion and a plan to mine extremely lightweight materials from the center of the moon by blasting tunnels using nuclear weapons. Oh my God. This is like, these guys are like the kid with the magnifying glass on the anthill. As things stand, it's difficult to know what happened to most of these concepts, though it's safe to assume that the U.S. government did not use nukes on the moon. Could some of the above-mentioned technologies have actually been developed? And if so, especially given that it is a secretive UFO program, is there a connection to potential alien visitors? With over 1,600 files to examine, UFO researchers will certainly have plenty to read for the foreseeable future. That's really, really interesting, folks, because there would have to at least be applicable formula and design in order to test. Do you think they just got some modeling clay out and decided, hey, I'm going to make a gravitational engine? Or do you think that this is an example of testing reverse engineered technologies? Seriously, I mean, this is really, I think, way huge. I mean, this is really huge. I don't know what you guys think. Yeah, you don't want to mess with the moon. Yeah, we don't want to mess with the moon. Absolutely not. Just here and there. Just here and there, 66. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. Brent, what is the new to the average Joe is old news to the government? Yeah, you're absolutely right. And that's a great reminder. I appreciate that. But we've always known that the technology that is in secret is at least 30 to 50 years advanced to what we currently have available to us on the consumer level. You're absolutely right. But this article, I'm not even going to close it, because I think this is a real powerful peek into what is going on in some of these black projects. I really do. And it does lend credibility to the whole captured technology, reverse engineering, and development of technologies that we've acquired. Well, where did we acquire this stuff? I'm sure nobody else on the planet's come up with this stuff, so it came from somewhere. At least the models and the ideas for it had to have come from somewhere. I mean, surely there's theoretical scientists and physicists that come up with ideas and such, but they didn't just say this was all in drafting. They said they were testing these technologies. So that is an incredible admission. This is an incredible admission. I'm absolutely fascinated by this. Neighbor's dog is barking. So I just muted for a second while I was loudest. All right, let's go to the next one. I gotta really look into that, folks, because that last article actually blew me away. That is almost at least suggesting that they are reverse engineering things. To me, that's exactly what that's saying. All right, so the last article on our newscast for the night: creepy figure shows up in photo at notoriously haunted jail. And since the only place we're broadcasting now is on YouTube, you'll be able to see this. This is, again, from unexplained-mysteries.com. And let's see. I'm not seeing it, or am I? I guess we'll have to... Oh, look at that. Look at that. I don't know if I'll be able to blow it up. Yeah, it says the figure is visible on the far right. That really does look like somebody like sitting in a chair and leaning forward and looking towards the camera. I hope you guys can see this. If you can't go full screen or zoom in or whatever, but that is a fascinating capture, because it's even enough to break the plane of this wall here that obviously would seem to go further, because it ends in a head, and that's really, really well. I mean, there's the neckline, there's perhaps there's a shirt and then a suit coat on top of it or something to that effect. But anyway, let's see what it says. Paranormal investigator Candace Collins maintains that this image shows the spirit of an old man with glasses. Built in 1779 before closing down in 1927, Bowen Jail is nestled at the edge of Bodmin Moor in Cornwall, England, where it has since been turned into a hotel, museum, and gift shop. Isn't it something? Old jails become hotels. It's like people can't wait to get out of there when it's a jail, but they make reservations when it's a hotel. Sorry. To me, that's funny. Over the years, its haunted reputation has also attracted the attention of numerous ghost hunting shows, paranormal investigators, and others keen to experience something unexplained. One such visitor was Candace Collins, who 15 years ago was captured on camera next to a rather unexpected extra. The image, which was lost until very recently, when she moved house and found it again, has since been generating a great deal of interest on social media. I caught some fantastic paranormal evidence at Bowen Jail before it was turned into a hotel, she said. This was snap on a camera while walking around taking pictures. It's a full body spirit of an old man in a suit with glasses and a hairline that is in my photograph when we were the only people there. I moved house shortly after taking the picture and lost it on the move, and I looked everywhere for this picture for years. Couldn't find it till I was going through an old folder yesterday, and there it was. I was amazed to find it after all that time. The image is certainly intriguing. The ghost, which is visible on the right-hand side, does resemble the shape of a figure. However, it's unclear if it is genuinely paranormal or simply a case of pareidolia, the tendency for human brain to see meaningful shapes in otherwise abstract patterns. No, I think she's definitely got something here. That is really, really fascinating and fantastic. What a great capture. And I wish I could blow it up. I don't know. Is there a way to, I guess it's a Facebook post. Is there possible to see this? Maybe it is. Maybe we can check it out a little better here. There's one. Yeah, there he is right there. Let's see if we can make it a little bigger. Just a little bit bigger, but yeah, there it is. That is definitely looks like a guy sitting down or something, leaning forward. You can even see an ear over here. Yeah, you can see the glasses, and the part looks like a part right there, and a kind of a comb over thing cooking. So yeah, that's a great capture. I think that's pretty powerful, folks. That this is very rare. Somebody did a contrast, put some contrast on it. Looks like the old dude with braces. Looks like an old dude with braces. I don't know where the braces are coming in, unless he's got leg braces or something. But that is a fantastic capture. It does look, it's old flash photography. There's obviously using film. And when this photo was taken, if it is indeed the legitimate photo, then that hasn't been doctored. If it was just scanned in as is, then this is a great capture, because that's a very, very rare thing. And it's everything else is in sharp enough relief that you can make out, stones and stuff. He wouldn't seem like he should be this quote unquote translucent. He's not transparent, obviously, because we can see him. But yeah, that's a great capture. Really cool. You don't see those very often, folks. So I guess it's a banner night in the newscast tonight on the Paranormal Portal. But I hope you walk away from the Paranormal Portal news feeling informed and with some things to think about. So let's get back to the rest of the program here, folks. We'll be just a moment. Wowza. How's that for cool, huh? Yeah, I think that article, I'm going to look at the chat and see what else you guys have said about that, but I find that absolutely fascinating. There it is. Excellent photo. Yeah, it really is, Rachel. You're right. That's fascinating. Looking up, see if I missed anybody's comments. If you make comments in the chat, I really consider you guys tonight are my co-hosts. So if you make comments, try to at least capitalize them. But if you can, do the @ sign, the shift number 2 @ sign, and then Paranormal Portal after it, and it'll give me an orange box to really make it stick out. So if you would please, that'll help. Yeah, there we go. That's where I led before. Hi, Deb. Good to see you. Thanks again, ladies and gentlemen. Miss Deborah Varner's in there, and her surgery went great, by the way, on her eye. It went perfect, so that's awesome. Nope, I don't think I've missed anything else. But I think that admission, just wanted to drop in for a few. We'll try to get back tomorrow night. Good night, Ohana. Much love. Much love to you, Deb. I'm sorry if you already left. I'm sorry if I missed your visit, but it's good to see you. Excellent photo. We love Paranormal Portal. Oh, thank you, Maggie. Love you too. It's nothing but love here, folks, on the Paranormal Portal. So I wonder if I should try to connect. Let me wait till, let me look at the Skype here and just see. Oh, okay. So I guess they're just still working on it. Okay. Yeah. All right. Nope. Nothing new over there. All right. So I've got a bunch more of the paranormal lined up for us to discuss tonight. So I hope you guys got a hankering for some more paranormal, because I got a bunch lined up. Okay, let me open this up. There's an article we visited the other night a little bit that I went through and screened it so that I've got all of the, it's a ranker article, and the list is Creepy Cop Calls 2020. So this is from our 2020, and it's from ranker.com, and these are police calls where police were called out to weird calls, and some of them are really dark and kind of horrible. And the last show we read one of those, and I was like, no, I don't want to bring the show into that angle. But I have outlined the ones in this list in my little handy dandy notebook and pad here, so we can go to the good ones and skip all the really creepy, horrible ones. Some of them are just tragic, and that's the tough part about law enforcement, is they get called to all of it. They got to deal with all of it, and it's double tough. I've got family that were police officers, and have had many friends that were in law enforcement, and it's a heavy load that they got to carry. So my hat's off to them. And let's see what they said. Here's the one that we're on. And let me do this quick first. Sorry, I'm going to have to pull up this slide again. Again, special thanks to Cryptid Coin for making the show possible. But I got to use this frame so that we can... Oops, that's not what I wanted. So that we can talk about these articles. So, and I'm doing that now. Okay, now I got this going. Okay, good. All right, so here we go. This is me and the article all on screen for us, and the chat, of course. So let's talk about this. This, again, is a law enforcement from Reddit posted this. He said, it's from Obscure Poster is the person that submitted this. It says, not me, but my friend is a cop in a major Canadian metropolitan. And one night that we were supposed to go out after his shift, he decided to pick me up in his cop car. And since he was almost finished with his shift and was just going to drop the car back at the depot. On the way, though, he got a call that someone was complaining about noises coming from their basement that sounded like a person. So he decided to make that the last stop. I was told to wait in the car while he talked with the homeowner and checked it out. He was gone for about a half an hour before he came back and had this terrified/amazed look on his face. Apparently the homeowner was hearing loud thuds from his basement for a couple of weeks, but on the day of the call, they were really loud and scaring him. He had a walk-in basement, so he thought maybe someone had broken in. My friend goes to the basement to check it out with the homeowner. Basement is all dark and the lights need to be turned on from the electrical panel. So they get to the panel, and my friend says he saw something in the corner of his eye. He turns around, and at the end of a hallway, which leads to a cold storage, he sees a guy facing the door of the cold storage, just standing there. He yells at the guy to turn around, but he doesn't. Homeowner sees him too and is really scared. Friend asks the guy to turn around once more before hitting the switch for the lights, and the guy/ghost at the cold storage just disappears when the lights come on. My friend swore that he searched every inch of that basement and could not find anyone else there. Homeowner is shook up and says he's going to go stay with a friend for the night. And my friend calls another cop to survey the house to see if anyone tries to enter the main house or basement. Not sure what happened after, but my friend swears he saw someone in that basement. Yeah, full apparitions like that. Oh, man. That's all kinds of weird. And you got to wonder, what are they doing in the basement? What is going on? Could be a homeowner that used to own the place and passed on, still attached, or, are some of these ghosts actually just fragments of spirits, like some of the stuff that got left behind? Maybe it's a emotional baggage that can't transition with you. Does that get left behind as an imprint of you, but not the full you? I often wonder about that, because some of the behaviors that these beings, these entities display just seems like they're just fragments. They're like not even a whole person. But then again, maybe the person wasn't a whole person either when they were alive. Who knows? This one is the next one. I took a call from a ghost. And this is by Redditor Smokey Bonaparte. And Smokey is Smoaky. Received a call from an elderly lady who had trouble breathing. I'd taken several calls from her and her husband in the past, so I recognized her voice. I dispatched an ambulance to her residence and held her on the line, trying to keep her calm while the ambulance was responding. Ambulance advised that they have a 15-minute ETA. She lived in a very rural part of West Virginia. I'm talking to her, asking about her husband and how he was doing, just making small talk with her. The ambulance calls in and advises they are on the scene, and I let them know that she is in severe respiratory distress. I still had her on the line. I let her know the ambulance is coming to the door, and she says, "Okay," and hangs up the phone. Pretty normal, yeah? Well, here's where it gets weird. The EMT and paramedic on scene call back about a minute later and advise that no one is answering the door. We have a sheriff unit who is in the area pulling on the scene about that time, and the sheriff unit confirmed the address and advised he is breaching the door to make sure make access to the PT. 5 minutes go by and the paramedic on scene radios in asking who the caller was. I advise it was the elderly female who lived at the residence. He tells me that he's going to call in and needs to speak with the supervisor on shift. We get him over to the supervisor, and the supervisor confirms the information that I gave him and asks what's going on. Apparently, the elderly female had been deceased for a while and was in full rigor mortis. They thought I was wrong on the caller, but the other dispatchers played it back and confirmed that it was the female who called. The ambulance transferred the hospital, and we got the same calls and disbeliefs from the doctors. So I took a call from a ghost. Those kind of stories are just amazing. And it doesn't come up often, but it does come up. I know I've read dozens and dozens of stories of people that have had conversations on the phone with what turned out to have been, well, the only explanation they had was that it was a ghost. And it really kind of boggles your mind, because you're thinking, well, how the hell does that happen? But everything, of all of the time that I've been covering ghost stories, which has been, all the years doing this show and a long time before I ever had a show, I just really fascinated by all this stuff for years and years. But there's a common thread in that some of the most often, the most common demonstrations of a spiritual presence have to do with electronics, lights, radios, televisions, different things like that, toys. So it seems that it must be so much easier for them to interact with those electronic devices somehow. And I guess it's, as I've said before on the show, it stands to reason that our real essence is energy. We're not actually a physical body. We animate a physical body with, us, our presence, I guess. There's electrochemical and biological functions that explain, how everything works, but, we're the driving force. So when we pass, the body drops like your dirty underwear when you're when you're taking a shower. You drop off the dirty stuff, and yet you're still there. You're not the clothes, but if they are there, they're energetic. And so maybe it stands to reason these spirits can directly interface with electronic things quite easily. And it's a fascinating idea. So a telephone is an electronic device. That also seems to suggest that they are manipulating things physically. Maybe in this case, I don't know what kind of phone it was. Whether it was just a house phone, that wireless house phone, or was it the old pick up the receiver, make the call kind of thing? But in any case, it's really, really common. So good to see you guys. Who's Blah? That's a new name. I believe they are here with us. Just can't see a part of that realm, I guess. Yeah, I think you're right, Blah. That's a good take. Some people can, but I'm not one of those people either. I can't see the ghostly stuff very well at all. But yeah, it's nice to see new names. I always love looking up and seeing new names. I'm just looking through the list. Drake C. Chopper. What? Oh yeah, not a fan of creepy basements. Me either. I think it's fascinating though how many ghosts experiences happen in dark basements. And I don't know how, I don't know. I've often thought, does that mean it's a different kind of spirit? Is it more earthy, perhaps an elemental kind of spirit? And I don't know. I don't have any clue for sure, but why the basements? I had an exorcist on the show a few years ago. His name is Jeffrey Seelman, really nice guy, but he was talking about, I asked him, I said, why is it always the basement? He says a lot of times these spirits like to go where they're not going to be bothered. And it makes sense. Where would you go in your house if you don't want somebody bothering you all the time? Well, if you had a grungy basement, that'd probably be a pretty good place. But I often wondered about, is that potentially indicate that it's a different kind of spirit, an earth spirit of some kind? And maybe it does. I don't know. Good to see you, Julia. Nice to see you here. A lot of new names tonight. Very cool. Not Julia. She's been around. That's Saltamontes, one of our mods, and Rachel, our other mod, is here. And I think that's it for the mods so far tonight. I guess we could do a roll call quick, but we'll wait after I try to reconnect one more time in the near future. Yeah, why the basement, Maggie says. I reckon it's because it's in the ground. Maybe so. That's a good point too, because where do we put the bodies? We put them in the ground, or cremated. But anyway, it's a tradition as old as people burying our remains, and maybe that creates a connection to the spirit as well. Who knows? But I thought that was an interesting take from Jeffrey about that. Yeah. Former owners live in basements and demons live in closets. There's so many closet stories. You're absolutely right. I don't know. I think there's something else with closets, though. I think that's closets. And Sean, a good friend of the show, he's talked about closets and their as a gateway function. And I guess it makes sense. We often hear about portals and gateways to, the other realm, and perhaps by virtue of being a door, that it can be created as a threshold or a portal to another dimension. And maybe that's possible. I don't know. Just some thoughts. But anyway, you have a great crew here in chat. Thank you, Blah. I'm glad you like it. I hope you get subscribed if you're not already and become part of what we're doing. We do live shows Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday right here on the portal. So love to meet new friends, new faces. Absolutely. So that's the call from the ghost. Let's see what's the next one. Oh yeah, this is another one. Not this one. Nope, not that one. Nope. You can see just from the sightings, yeah, that some of them are really dark, and that's part of the job, I guess. But yeah, a lot of them have to do with people having delusions, like whether they have dementia or something else, and those are sad and tragic. Yeah, there we go. This is the next one, and it's posted by Redditor C. Uggets, and I don't know what the asterisks are blotting out, but I'll trust that it's probably a word we wouldn't want to use on the show. I like to keep it family friendly. Maybe it's crazy. Crazy. All right, let's get to this one. Did you hear a female crying? So it was 2008. I was about 10 weeks into our 12-week field training after coming out of the academy. Oh, sorry about that. My primary field trainer was a patrol veteran, grizzled black guy, squared away, late 30s, named Adams. Mean as hell and not afraid of anything. So we're going through my task book and realize we had not done a security check on a church or a place of business. Deputies routinely check doors and windows in businesses in the late night / early morning to make sure that all was okay. We were deep in the west side of Wake County in the still rural backwoods area, so we decided to stop at a church nearby and check it. The church was really old and had a huge graveyard beside it. I'm talking 3 or 4 acres worth of grounds, some of the graves dating back to the Civil War era. There was little to no security lighting, so we grabbed our flashlights and began to make the rounds, pulling on doors and checking ground level windows. After about 20 minutes, we're done with the rounds and walking back to up the gravel drive from the rear of the building right beside the graveyard, when I hear what can only be described as a woman softly weeping coming from within the graveyard. My field trainer stopped. He didn't say anything at first, but swept the gravestones with his light. I spoke first and whispered, "Did you hear a female crying?" "Unfortunately, yes," he said. "I was really hoping I imagined it." So into the pitch black graveyard we went, walking about 6 feet apart, sweeping between the stones toward the sound we were both could still clearly hear. In fact, it was getting louder as we approached where we thought she must be. About the same time we came to the far side of the graveyard, the sound changed. It was all around us. Amplified is the only way to describe it, like surround sound. And then it completely stopped, and all we could hear were the crickets. I looked at him. He looked at me. We turned around and headed back to the car. We did not run, but I think we both wanted to. We did not include that information in our informational case report for the security check. Yeah, you don't want to put that one in. You might be in a new line of work after that. Rachel, that was someone, what did you say, Maggie? Maggie's talking about the ley lines and electromagnetic energy in the ground. Freak me out as I walk through my closet. Has huge mirrors. Oh yeah, mirrors. Mirrors are another object that's often referred to in some esoteric practices. Obviously, there's what is it called? A psychomantium, where you're in a dark room. You have a mirror on the wall and like either a candle burning behind you, or a very low wattage bulb, like a nightlight kind of bulb, or lower. And the idea is to sit in the psychomantium. It's a practice that literally is as old as ancient Egypt. But you stare at this mirror while you're sitting there comfortable. And allegedly, people have had incredible encounters coming into contact with loved ones, and some of them, I guess, could be, scary and negative, but I think for the most part, people walk away from the experience thinking that they actually made contact with those they love. And it's called the psychomantium again. So if you want to look that up, you can. It has to do with mirrors Mirrors are considered, or they're used for scrying and for any number of other practices as well. So there's a lot of esoteric history with mirrors. And of course, some of the silly things that kids do, which I don't know, the kids are brave. I don't know why you would play around at summoning something. It's just like, no, don't call Mary. Don't call her. Just leave her alone. Not that anything usually happens, but sometimes things do happen, and that's creepy. Let's see. Oh yeah, this is the last one from this article. This is the last article, or last story in the article. But again, this is another one from ACH1NO, Achino, I guess. I don't know. We never learned the actual cause of death. Former paramedic responded with police and fire to report of a man down on the side of the railroad tracks in a wooded area about 500 yards from the nearest access road. A railroad employee riding the tracks during a safety check noticed the man. We all parked and walked with all the equipment the 500 or so yards to where the patient was. He had no signs of life. Flatline on the EKG along with fixed and dilated pupils. Do a little more checking and he has no visible signs of any type of trauma. The body is not cold yet and there isn't rigor mortis yet, so he hasn't been dead too long. We don't see any marks where he could have shot up and overdosed, and we don't feel any broken bones. The guy from the railroad said a train hadn't passed in the last 8 hours. It says, we searched the area and find a makeshift tent / campsite where the guy apparently was living and find no medications or anything out of the ordinary. We're not too far from the area where everyone believes is haunted and satanic worshiping takes place. Even though all of us on the scene knew about the rumors, none of us had actually seen it or had proof. It's dark and we're all waiting around for the funeral home to show up and bring the body to the morgue for an autopsy. Then the spooky stuff started. A few of us heard what sounded like people whispering, but it wasn't from any specific direction. A couple of the guys didn't hear it and thought we were trying to screw with them. Then the whispering noises stopped, and the people on the scene that hadn't heard the whispering started hearing what they all described as children laughing wickedly. But it was all over, not from any specific direction. Those of us that had heard the whispering never heard the new noise, and this went on for about 10 to 15 minutes while we're standing next to the corpse. Police officers on the scene told the dispatcher to tell the funeral home to step it up and get out there ASAP. We helped them load the body and got the heck out of there. The next afternoon, we went to the morgue to speak with the coroner and find out the cause of death. The first thing the coroner asked us is, why did we clean the body? Me and my partner looked at him kind of strange and asked, what is he talking about? He said it must have been a very bloody scene, so we told him there was no blood anywhere around the scene and that he turned a little pale and said that just added to the confusion because the body had absolutely no blood in it whatsoever. And there were no marks anywhere on him where the blood could have been drained out. He also said he had a weird experience while doing the autopsy, but refused to tell us what happened. To this day, we still have never learned the actual cause of death. Well, that'll keep you up at night. Maggie says, wow, I don't think I'd be brave enough to do that. Thanks. Yeah, I know. I suppose if it's your job, you probably don't have a lot of choice. You got to kind of do your job. But man, that would be tough to walk into some of these situations. I guess if you go in with a healthy dose of skepticism, it's probably a good start because you're not really afraid of the things that it could be because you don't believe in them. But I suppose things like this have made believers out of most people that experience them. So that's that article, folks. And it was a good article. I really do enjoy that. I think that stuff is absolutely fascinating. Now, the other thing that I was thinking about during that story is the whispers from that last story, how it surrounded them. There's a video on YouTube, and make of it what you want, but as far as I know, it was never debunked as being fake. And the person that did it has never said, no, it's just a con job that I know of. But it was a guy that does caving for his YouTube channel. That's what he does. He goes and checks out old mines and stuff. And I think he has an interest in actual mining. And so that's what he likes to do, is check out these older historic mines. And he's in this mine, and he's actually testing a flashlight. He got a sponsorship from a flashlight, or he's just reviewing it. I'm not sure. But he's in this cave with this flashlight, and he goes through all the functions and stuff. And it's fascinating. And he's going through off of this side cut, and he goes back, and kind of gets to the end where the chute comes down from another level where they dump the ore and for it to get moved out. And he's like, well, it's a dead end. We kind of got to turn around. And so he's on his way, making his way back out. And as he's going, he's recording it live. I mean, it's a stream. Well, it's a recording. It's not a stream. He's recording the video. But as he's going, suddenly he hits a spot in this cave. And I swear this guy has like titanium testicles. They're just, because you never know how flustered he was, but he was flustered, but he just held it together so well. But he gets to this point in the cave where he's recording, and all of a sudden he hears like just a sound like that, like it's a Harry Potter doing parcel song all around him. Like he's just got this sounds going. He's like, what the hell is that? And he says, well, I don't know. I don't feel any wind, so I don't think it's the wind. And I haven't seen any birds or anything that it could be birds. Maybe it's birds, but I haven't seen any. And he's just standing there. And then, he said, well, we better get out of here. And you can see he's getting a little nervous. And so he starts walking, and then it stops. Like he moved out of the area where this was. And so then he kind of is standing there, and I think he goes back a little bit, and sure enough, it starts again. That sound happens again, but it seems to be very localized in this area. So you got to wonder, was he passing through some kind of spiritual energy? Something maybe dark, maybe just, more elemental as we've suggested before. But it's so fascinating because he caught it on camera. It's recorded on his camera. And he said, it's just, I don't know, it's really weird in here. So I guess we better get out of here. Maybe that's something's about to fall. Maybe it's the wood or something. So he really kind of beelines it out of there. And I was just, that story reminded me of that, of them being surrounded by this noise. And the story before it, the crying in the graveyard, and then the kids cackling and stuff, and all of those different sounds, they were kind of everywhere. They weren't just one direction. They were like in the midst of it. And so it makes you wonder if that's some of the phenomena. It's just like you're within a field of this energy or this presence. Like, I don't know. I find it absolutely fascinating. Yeah, absolutely. Email if you've got any stories that you'd like to share or have me share on the shows, by all means, email them to me. I'd love to hear from you. I've been getting some great emails lately with people's stories, and it's fascinating. And actually, I then will talk to you about what you've experienced and stuff too. So if you want to email me something that you've experienced, by all means, please do so. Jeffrey Dixon, nice to see you. Thanks for coming in. That's another name. Let's do some shout outs here, because I'm seeing all kinds of new names tonight. Blas here. Chopper Sick Balls is in here. All right. D Ocean's in here. Digger Dog's here. Ghost Magnet's here. Jeffrey Dixon. If you want a shout out, you got to type something, because it won't populate you on the list until you do. Android's here. Good to see Android. Ghost Magnet is here. Jeffrey Dixon. Maggie. Jess Mink just popped up. Maggie's here. I'm here. Rachel is here. Ruger Ridge is here. Ruthie Castro. And then the Heighted. The Heighted. I remember that name from the other night. So welcome back. Good to see you guys, and all of you that are new, please, get subscribed. I'd love to have you stick around and be a part of these as they go. Some other names are coming up. Matthew Learned just popped up. Dream popped up. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Have I missed anybody else? Let's see. I'm just scanning one more time. Looks like that's the chatters tonight. So thanks for being a part of the journey. I appreciate it. Some other name popped up now. Kevin Whip. Good to see you. WIPF. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. Outstanding. All right, let's get back to the chat so I can see if you guys are talking to me. Again, you guys are my co-host tonight. So if you have something that you want to say or you want to speak about any of the things we're talking about here on the show, by all means, please do. I got to look at the time and see how we're doing. Okay, we're about an hour in, a little over an hour, 10 minutes. The night is cruising by. I think, let me just check and see. I guess it doesn't make much sense to try to connect now, but I see that I haven't gotten any updates as far as the network is concerned, so we'll just keep chewing through the night here. Did I close that? I got to see if I closed that. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, here we are. Okay, I want to get back to another article that we've been going through prior to the police one. But this is one we've been going through for a while. It's just one of those really long aggregates. Some articles are just put together by these companies that have really nothing to do with the paranormal, but they make these aggregated articles, and they're actually pretty fantastic a lot of times because they have people that go out and just pull comments from Reddit threads and populate these articles with some fantastic stories. Now, they are supposed to be legitimate stories, and again, you got to take some of this with a grain of salt because we just don't know. There's no way to know if these are legitimate or not, but we'll just assume for the sake of the show that they could be, they might be. And maybe if only a percentage of them is real, that still represents some incredible phenomena. So we gotta, I don't suggest that you believe everything I read here because I don't believe everything I'm reading here, but it's supposed to be true. I promise you one thing about the Paranormal Portal is that I will never knowingly bring in fake stories or information. Everything that I present to you is supposed to be true. Now, do I believe that all of it is? No. But it's supposed to be. And I promise you that is my commitment to you guys. I'm not going to waste your time with stories because here's the thing. When it comes to the paranormal, the reason I've done this for so long and I continue to do it, and even before I had a show, I researched this stuff, is because I have a lot of questions. I really want to understand some of what's going on in this world and this stuff particularly. Like, I want to understand about these things running around that might be out there. I want to understand, what's going on in in our universe. And so this is all a quest for me in many ways. I learn so much from the stories that you guys send me because I do believe the stories people send me. I really do. And because it's coming from you. These other things, I don't know where they're coming from. They're just represented with a name. But as I have these questions, the stories teach me something about the phenomena that really helps me to connect the dots and start putting together at least working ideas or theories about all this phenomena. So that's my fascination. So whatever happened to trail cam terrors or any sort of video or photo to review? I missed that. I agree. The problem is when we do the shows on Friday, Saturday, we're simulcasting on the networks generally. Not tonight, as it turned out, because of technical difficulties on the station. But I can't really do a lot of visual stuff with them because that leaves out at least a part of the audience that has no way of seeing what's going on because they only get the audio. So I do try to do that as much as I can on Wednesday nights. Now, the trail cam terrors, I ran out of trail cam terrors. I went through so many of those, and there aren't, a truckload of them, and a lot of them are so obviously fake, I'm not going to waste your time. But it's hard to find good evidence to present to you guys. We covered a lot of it, and if you find some, please, I'm happy to do the segments again. It's just, I just couldn't find much more that I thought was worthy of putting on the show. So, sorry, itchy below my nose, the mustache. But yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to doing the trail cam terrors or showing picture or video evidence. I got to be careful of copyright and stuff like that though too, folks, because unfortunately, in today's YouTube world, that's a big liability. And I have gotten struck before. It just, it's something you try not to do. I mean, I try to do it, anytime I present things like that, I try to do it in such a way as it's part of the show, and that it becomes a part of the discussion, or it becomes, something that we use to talk about the phenomena. But, it still doesn't mean everybody's going to be really happy about it. So, and it's hard to track down permissions from everybody. So I do the best that I can, but we got two hours of show to fill. And so, but if you find stuff, feel free to send it to me. Again, you can send it to paranormalportalradio@gmail.com. I'll be happy to feature it on a Trail Cam Terrors. That's fantastic. I got loads you can send you. Well, please do. Please do, Android. I'd love to see them. Rachel says, unfortunately, there's a lot on TikTok, but I don't know about copyright there. And that's again, the problem. I certainly don't want to lose the channel just because, hey, I got a picture I can show you. It's got to be something that is okay to use, or at least something that I can use and make it transformative enough that I can get it fair use. So just some thoughts on that. But photos are really tough because a lot of people are like ravenously trying to go around and strike channels, and it's become kind of a shooting gallery of sorts. So you just got to be careful. And I love having this show. I love having this opportunity to talk with you guys, but one picture could cause a lot of problems. So keep that in mind as you look for things. But there's a couple of things I wanted to do. One, I wanted to give you guys a sneak peek, and I may air it again tomorrow night, but since we have a minute, I want to share this with you. This coming Sunday, I'm going to be releasing a new episode of our podcast, and I wanted to give you guys a sneak peek of that. So, are you interested? I put together kind of a promo for it. It's going to be actually part of the podcast, but I'm going to play it for you now. So, hang on to your seats. It's going to get good.
I am Dracula. I bid you welcome.
Vampires. Horrible creatures from our legends and histories that prey on the living.
They look like psychos? Is that what they look like? They were vampires. Psychos do not explode when sunlight hits them. I don't give a f*** how crazy they are.
While many assume that these beings are remnants of a superstitious past of fiction and fear, others insist that these legends were born of some truth.
I know there's no such a person as Dracula. You know there's no such a person as Dracula. But does Dracula know it?
That the darkness continues to hide horrors straight out of our nightmares.
You'll never grow old, Michael, and you'll never die. But you must feed.
Like so many other things, vampires became consumed by our culture and was transformed into books and movies where writers recreated the legends into their own image.
My own brother, a goddamn sucking vampire. Will you wait till Mom finds out, buddy?
What exactly is a vampire? While the truth of this may be lost to time, there are those who insist vampires do exist in our world. They believe this because they've come face to face with a vampire. So there you have it. That's a little teaser for what's coming up on Sunday's show. I talked to somebody who believes they've seen and experienced coming face to face with a vampire, an actual vampire. And I have to tell you, the way that they explained the phenomena, it doesn't fit anywhere else. It's certainly a very, very unique experience, but I found him to be a very believable person, and we had a fantastic talk, and it was just amazing. Now I'm really excited about this show because vampire, nope, never. I don't think I'd want to see one either, to be honest with you. It's very, very fascinating though, because these legends are born of something, and as Hollywoodized as the subject has become, is there a kernel of truth to it? Is there a piece that really does discuss and demonstrate a real phenomenon? I think there is. Yeah, there are those too. You're right. Just here and there. There's the psychic vampires, and we don't know what they subsist on or what they feed on, but at any rate, check out this weekend's new podcast. It's going to be. I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm really excited about this because for years I tried looking into the phenomena, and all I could find was the goth counterculture and the people that like to try to adopt a vampiric lifestyle, but I just couldn't find accounts that I could bring to you guys of actual vampire sightings. They're very, very rare, but I do think there's something to it. So I hope you guys will check that out. Hope you guys enjoyed that little teaser. I was having fun putting that together. It's something I'd like to do a lot more of in the podcasts. Oh, I wish you would, Ruthie. That would have been great. If you, it's a very weird thing. I think there's something to it though. I really do. I think that all of the legends have a truth. So at any rate, that's my little sneak peek for the coming podcast that'll be released on Sunday. Oh, thank you, Rachel. I appreciate that. Oh, thanks, Dee. I appreciate that as well. Dyke Waters tried researching it in New Orleans, and he was warned to back off. Yeah, I've actually, this is, it's one of those topics that I've heard those kind of things for, Ona. I've heard about that. That's the people that have really tried to look into it, hit walls, but they hit the wall basically by being warned off, like don't look in there. And so, I'm not a foolish person that's going to go turn over every rock. I don't ever want to stir things up, although doing the show, I have ended up stirring things up quite a few times. I've become pretty good at cleansing and doing things to keep my space as clear as I can, but it's pretty wild, the amount of phenomena that's occurred, I believe, as a direct result rather of discussing it. So anyway, I don't need any vampires knocking at my door. But let's get back to the article that I was talking about that we were going to get back to, because this is one that I've had a tab on my computer now for weeks, and I don't like to do it all in one shot because it gets a little long for any show. But at any rate, we are on this Factinate article that I was discussing, and these are experiences. I don't know. It's not really called experiences, though. But let me see if I can do this. God, if I screw it up. If I screw this up, it's going to be a mess. Let me see, though. Let me see. I'm willing to take a chance. There we go. So I found if you replace the article, the URL with just the number, it had a number 1 on there. So, of course, it included all the previous 72. But we're on 73. So this is spooky season, terrifying stories to keep you up at night. Most of these are paranormal, but we may run into some that are just creepy, and I'm sorry about that, because that's not the scope of the show, is to have all kinds of creepy stuff outside of the paranormal, mind you. But anyway, number 73, you will meet a tall, dark stranger. I was hiking through the remnants of a remote, long-abandoned town and the surrounding area. And to get this far into the woods as I was, you had to cross fallen trees over a creek 3 times. I hope I didn't already read this one, but anyway, I'm going to continue. I just crossed the 3rd bridge, and that was about 5 miles in, and something blue caught my eye just ahead of me. What I saw made me stop in my tracks. There was a man in his 60s at least, wearing blue satin pajamas and sitting in a tree. The closer I got to him, the louder he laughed. It wasn't a maniacal laugh, but it set off all the alarms in my head. Nevertheless, sorry, I've got to put the right emphasis where it belongs here. He also wasn't wearing any shoes, yet he looked well groomed and cleaned. I gave him a friendly nod as I passed, and he just kept laughing. And then it stopped. I turned, and he was gone. There was no branch cracking, plants rustling, nothing. He was just gone. Still rubs me the wrong way. The area I was in was a pretty rough hike. Very secluded. Not very many people venture as deep as I was that day. No idea what was going on there, and honestly, I'm not sure I ever want to find out. Yeah, that's creepy. That is really spooky. Number 74 on this list. The thing that walked through walls. My mom has the best paranormal ghost experience that I've ever heard recounted to me. And it's impossible for me to find a believable, rational explanation for it. She's Kate. It happened when she was on holiday with her parents. They were on their way to Devon from Suffolk, and this journey took a long time and required an overnight stop. She was around 14 years old at the time, very precocious and willful, but enjoyed the prospect of a small holiday with her mom and dad. They arrived at a hotel for the overnight stop, and Kate goes to relax for a bit in the TV alcove that they have upstairs while her parents go for a drink at the bar. Happily watching TV, she's surprised to see a man poking his head into the alcove. The only way she can describe how he looks is he had very old skin. Despite being startled, she apologizes and offers the use of the TV to the man, who just stares back at her blankly and then leaves just as suddenly as he arrived. Kate is a little freaked out by this, and upon reuniting with her parents before getting to their rooms for the night, she remembers telling them about the man, hoping she hadn't upset anyone. She expected that's probably the man in room 3, but instead they seemed confused and perturbed, to use Kate's words. Kate has a room to herself, so she says goodnight to her parents and goes to bed. Once in bed, Kate starts to read her book, fully enveloped in the story. Then the strangest thing happens. I'm going to use the words she used when she first told me this story. I felt a man walk through the wall behind me to my left. I was so scared that I immediately hid under the covers and shut my eyes as hard as I could and wished for him to go away. I felt him slowly walk down the left side of my bed, turn around at the end of the bed, and he continued in that direction until he went through the wall facing the right side of my bed. When she couldn't feel him anymore, she came out from under the covers and decided that she must be going crazy, letting her imagination get away from her. To this day, she is a very pragmatic and skeptical person, so she thought it was in her head and that was the end of it. Fast forward 10 to 14 years later, and she's having dinner with her parents. This isn't a regular occurrence as she's moved to London, where she would meet my dad and and later have me, but her parents still live in Suffolk. And they were talking about weird experiences that they've had or that their friends have had. And my mom remembers this experience, leading with, I got myself all worked up in that hotel we stayed at thinking somebody walked through the wall. Once her mom hears this, however, she goes white and has a very serious look on her face. She explains that she had exactly the same experience. Upon discussing the night further, they work out that the wall the thing walked through from my mom's room has the wall straight into my parents' room. Absolutely bone-chilling. That was by Mattress 757. Yeah, that's weird. Normally, people don't walk through walls, so if you see that happen, it might be a red flag. Just saying, I'm just going to put that out there because that would be my consideration. Nope, that doesn't normally happen. All right, let's go to the next one. We are not alone, number 75. I used to work at a place that had to be manned 24 hours a day. I handled sensitive documents and files, and if somebody needed this information in the middle of the night, I would have to fetch it for them or confirm that I had it. So security is really tight, and I'm talking bars on windows and multiple locked doors to get to where I am. They would give me work to do during the night, but they underestimated how quickly I could get it done. So like most nights, this one, I finished my work in like 30 to 45 minutes and pulled out my phone and played games. No one else was in the building with me. It was getting to be the last third of my shift when all of a sudden I hear a door close. I took to the security camera and see someone walking down the hall toward my room. At first I thought it was just somebody who came in ridiculously early, so I turned around and waited for them to come in, but nobody came in. Now the hairs started rising on the back of my neck. I decide that I've got to do something about this or I'll go crazy. This isn't really a big building, so I figure I'll find the guy wherever he is and start checking offices and storage rooms. I come up empty-handed, but I do see that the fire door had shut. I go and try to rewind the camera, but the digital recording is password protected, and I don't know the password. The whole thing freaked me out. I mean, the way the person was walking down the hallway, like a determined walk right to where I was. So I sit with my spine tingling for the last couple hours of my shift, and finally people start coming in. My replacement shows up and I tell her what I saw. At this point, I figured I must have imagined the whole thing. I'm told to go home, and the manager and the girl who replaced me would look over the camera. After getting home, I call my manager and ask what was on the camera. They said that the video showed the fire door closing, but then the video froze for about an hour, and the next thing it records is me reopening the door. That was by True Denter. True Denter said that. Number 76, The Telltale Foot. My parents' house is brand new in a really nice subdivision, and I was about 5 when we moved. I wasn't ever an anxious kid or anything, but I was terrified of the house. I refused to be upstairs alone, and I had a really frequent panic attacks. We lived there for 15 years before I moved out, and I was never comfortable. I live in a 75-year-old farmhouse now, and I don't get uncomfortable the way I did in that house. Only one creepy thing actually ever happened to me there, though, and this is it. Last year, 32-week pregnant me went back to see my grandmother before I had this baby. And I'm staying with my parents. My dad was traveling for work, so it was just my mom, my sister, and me. My mom had gone to the grocery store, and I was lying on the sofa. The way the living room is set up, you can see the reflection of the bottom 2 feet of the foyer and the staircase in the TV. And also the kitchen on the other side of the living room. So I'm lying there, messing around with my phone, and I hear the stairs creaking. I look up at the reflection in the TV, and I see a pair of bare feet standing in the foyer. I think it's my sister, so I tell her to come and sit with me, feel the baby kicking. But there's no reply. And the feet turn around and walk to the kitchen. So I sit up and say, "Hey," and there's no one there. My sister wasn't even home, and she'd gone to work. My parents have moved closer now, and they're closing the sale of that house at the end of this month. They're a little sad, but honestly, I'm incredibly relieved. That's by Desperately Vintage. You know, I think that if suddenly all of us could just see all the spirits in the world, like they were just suddenly visible, I think we would be shocked at how many are out there, how many are around us, and present in our experiences. I think I think we're swimming in a world of spirit, to be honest with you. And then if you get into the whole simulation theory, like, hey, none of this is real. This is all just a simulation. Well, what's existing outside of the simulation then? And are these spirits the real world poking through? Maybe. But I think that there's a lot of them around. Story written by Edgar Allan Poe. You get a rim shot for that one, Jess. That was pretty great. Good job. Yeah. I don't know. I think that we're constantly in presence of those things, but it's just my opinion. Number 77, A Bridge to Another World. Who wrote that one? Desperately Vintage. Yeah, I said that. Okay. Number 77, Bridge to Another World. I was driving home late one night, somewhere between 1 and 3 a.m. The stretch of road I was driving goes through the back end of a couple of counties in the deep south. Nothing around but forests, fields, and the occasional group of shacks huddled together under a light that only barely keeps away the night. Well, I'd driven this stretch of road many times before, even at this time of night, so it wasn't really a big deal, just a long trip. Since there was rarely any traffic at that time of night, I was able to turn the stereo up and push the pedal down. And then I came to this bridge. Nothing really noteworthy about it. It's not ancient or a covered bridge or even all that spooky, just a concrete span over the swampland. There's trees growing right up near the edge and turning the road into a dim trail at the bottom of a dark canyon. I didn't think anything of it until that night. It was humid out, and as the temperature dropped, there was a little bit of fog, not really enough to slow me down, but I had to turn off the high beams, so I'm shooting across the bridge, and it hits me that it seems to be taking longer than normal to get across it. Maybe I was just tired. Maybe my mind was just playing tricks on me. And then I thought I was finally getting to the end of it. I saw a figure walking on the opposite side of the road. At first, no big deal, right? Guy walking in the middle of nowhere in the middle of the night, probably lives nearby, probably not sober. Watch them to make sure they don't fall in front of the car, but my mind is already racing. I mean, this is in the middle of nowhere. There are no houses around, there's no lights, but the stars in my headlights stabbing out into the darkness. And as I whiz by, going way too fast for my own good, I notice two terrifying things. First, the figure is wearing what appears to be a straitjacket. Ooh. The sleeves undone and the straps trailing to the ground. Second, it has no face. Not like there's no head there. There's a head shape and the place where a face should be, but no face. Just an expanse of darkness that I took to be his skin. Well, I chalked it up to going really fast, contrast between white jacket and dark skin at night, and thinking creepy thoughts. I mean, surely I couldn't have just seen that. I tried to spot him in my rearview mirror, but it was so dark there was nothing to be seen. I slowed down a little and was suddenly off the end of the bridge and on the normal 2-lane blacktop again. Well, I briefly considered turning around and seeing what it was. Surely it was just a trick of the light or my mind playing tricks on me, right? That was by Ryder Monk. Do you believe it? Do you think it's a real story? I don't know. It is a bit of a red flag when you get to the Reddit name and it's Ryder Monk. It's like, oh, you're a writer. Okay. But it could be real. Never know. God knows we've covered enough stories like that throughout the course of the show, so it wouldn't be beyond the scope of possibility. But it is a fantastic yarn. Number 78, Monsters Are Real. Once upon a time, I lived with a couple and their child. They asked me to babysit so they could have an evening together. I agreed. Fast forward to bedtime. The child doesn't want to go to sleep because of the monsters. The child is adamantly sincere, which creeps me out a bit, but I play it cool. I look around the room, pretending to scare them away. I think I've read this one before. It might have appeared on another thread. This does the trick, and the child falls asleep. Later, I'm sitting in the living room, which is oriented so the couch faces away from the main entry. I'm watching TV, expecting the couple back at any minute, and that's when I hear the entry door open and close, just like I've heard it many times before. With a smile on my face, based on my success with the child and the knowledge of my good deed, I stand and turn towards the door. There's no one there. I'm skeptical of the paranormal, but this unnerved me. Once the couple actually returns, I tell them about it, and he says, "Oh yeah, we're going to tell you that stuff happens here all the time, particularly in the child's room, but we didn't want to scare you." Needless to say, I slept poorly in my basement bedroom for several days. That was by Indiana Tonus. So, so this is what occurs to me. All right, you got a kid. It's a little kid. If you know things are happening in that kid's room, how could you leave the kid in that room? I mean, as a parent, you got to protect your kids. You don't know what the hell they're doing. Would you leave your kid in there? Like, oh yeah, that stuff happens all the time, but it's just in the kid's room. It's fine everywhere else. No, that's not okay. That's not good. You don't leave your kids in a haunted room. Oh, unless you really don't like being a parent, and then there's always adoption or something else. You don't leave your kids in a haunted room. Blah says, I saw that story on YouTube. Oh, okay. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. I think a lot of people check out the Reddit threads and stuff. When I go out to eat, I put on my nice pajama pants. Good job, Matthew. You definitely don't want to slum it when you're going out to a nice restaurant. You should definitely put on the good pajamas. That's funny. Ballroom plaid. That's not dressy enough. You should at least have a Winnie the Pooh stuffy or something with you. You gotta pull it all out. Pull out all the stops. Number 79, Glitch in the Matrix. And again, I do apologize if some of these stories end up being repetitive, like we've covered them before. It's just a function of these articles that maybe these stories appear in many articles. I try to be cognizant of it, but when they're long articles like this, there's nothing I can do. We're going to end up repeating stories, but repetition helps you to remember. So, Glitch in the Matrix, 79. My sophomore year of college, I live on campus, but my boyfriend didn't. He worked on campus, however, and would often hang out in my dorm with me between class and work. My bed was lofted with my desk underneath it, and sometimes I'd take a nap while he sat at my desk doing homework. One afternoon, I woke up from a pretty vivid dream and started telling my boyfriend about it. I remember hearing him respond, and in the middle of my response, I felt this eerie shift in the atmosphere. It was like the whole room suddenly became slightly darker and colder. I quietly said his name, but he didn't respond. And that's when I remembered he'd been at work for about 3 hours. I grabbed my backpack, ran out of there, and did homework in the library until he was off of work. That was written by Asleep Under the Bridge. What are you, a troll? Huh? Yeah, if you're getting responses like that, that's pretty fascinating. It's coming from the inside of the house. God, that's like every horror movie in the 80s, I think. The call. We traced the call. It's coming from inside the house. Creepy. My sister was visiting my parents for the weekend, and that night I called her about something, just wanting to chat. But when she picked up, she was clearly very upset. She told me she was home alone and something was happening. I asked her if there was someone in the house, like an intruder, and she told me there were animalistic growling noises coming from the corner, and my mom's dog was going nuts. I know I've read this one before, so bear with me. We're already into it, so let's finish it. She also said the hallway lights were flashing on and off. I don't remember that part of it. God, that's a lot of activity. I told her to get her jacket and calmly walk out of the house, taking the dog with her if she could, and that I would be by soon to pick her up. She went outside and brought the dog with her. My friend was even closer than I was, so he picked up my sister, and they hung out at a friend's house for a while. After 20 minutes, about 20 minutes after that, my brother, who also lived nearby, stopped by the house to return some tools he'd borrowed from my dad. He went inside because he saw the lights going on and off, and he's an electrician. Once he was inside, they stopped. He kept hearing someone walking around in the other room, but when he'd go in, no one was there. And when he called out, nobody responded. He checked the whole house, and then also heard the growling animal sounds from the same corner as my sister. This is an outside wall corner with windows, but not enough space for a raccoon or something to be trapped inside the wall. My brother felt very unnerved and left. See, now that's a strange story, and the reason that it's strange is that it doesn't sound like this was a common occurrence. Like, when you're dealing with a traditional haunting, it's like, oh yeah, that's the old owner. He likes to stand at the window. You see an apparition. But it's a repeated behavior. You see very similar behaviors over and over, a favorite chair, something like that. That's always has, something going on. But this sounds like a brand new event just out of nowhere. Like, boom, there's all of a sudden growling animal noises and the lights are flipping on and off. I do think that perhaps spirits can be transitory and can move around and stuff, but it's hard to say. So we're at about 8:45. I guess we got to stick with this. I was going to do a couple creature reports from Phantoms and Monsters, but I'll save those for tomorrow night when Sheldon's here. We can talk about them then. So I'll just continue with this thread, if that's all right with you guys, for the last 15 minutes of the show, and then we'll go from there. What has there been? There's no calls. Okay. Oops, I want to do this. There, and I can see it better. It Came in a Dream, number 81. Who did that last one, by the way? Cake Batter. Okay. I just moved into a new house, and one day I was downstairs when I heard what sounded like furniture moving around upstairs. I went up to investigate, but when I got there, everything was quiet and nothing had moved. I then went back downstairs, only for the dragging sounds to start all over again. I go back up, nothing. Well, this went on for about an hour. I almost called the authorities because I was positive that someone was in my home. I ended up calling a friend and kept them on speakerphone while I searched the attic, thinking maybe an animal could be hiding, but I never found anything. Eventually, I gave up my search and went to bed. But it was far from over. That night, I had a dream that I was driving up to work in the rain and fog and crashed my car. Someone approached me and asked, "Are you ready to move on?" And that's when I woke up. At the time, I was working mid-shift, so around 10 p.m. that same day, I got in my car on a foggy and rainy night and made my way into work without any issue. The building I worked in had security cameras all over, and it being so late, I was the only person coming in. When I got inside, the person I was relieving asked who I came in with. Well, I was alone, but she swore someone followed me inside. It was a very unnerving 12 hours, to say the least. It says, "I loves my bacon." Oh, Naysay, you're always sexy. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Naysay has joined us. Mr. Good long time friend of the show, for sure. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping in and being a part of what we're doing. I was just thinking of doing something. Now I forgot it because I saw Naysay, and that just made me forget everything. Because we love us some Naysay here in the portal. I don't want the newsletter. Insides and out. Okay, let's read this one. I'm trying to think of what I was going to do. I know I was going to do something, and now I can't remember what it was. Some guy drinking and driving was hit by a car right in front of me. It was the middle of the night, in the middle of nowhere. His condition was unstable, so the trauma helicopter was on its way. I was holding the sheet with another person so onlookers wouldn't see what was happening. And, well, it was nothing I wanted to see. I heard his ribs crack from the CPR. Then something wrong happened, and the trauma doctor had to open his chest right there. I have no medical background at all and saw some things that I was never meant to. Yeah, that's tough. I remember what I was going to tell you guys. I remember what I was going to do. I was going to tell you a story of my own. So, I owned, at one point in my life, I owned an old Victorian home. It was a really cool house. I really loved it, but it also tended to be somewhat active in certain times of the year. It wasn't consistently like off the charts activity going on, but there was always some kind of activity happening at least certain times of the year. I think it was more like spring and fall where things would start popping off. But the winters were usually pretty quiet, as were the summers. But in this house, I also had apartments that I rented upstairs, and it was a beautiful home and had great tenants, really nice people. But this lady that lived upstairs, she's saying, I hear these animals running around in the attic. And now the attic is completely unfinished in this home. It's just basically a traditional attic. There's like the pull down door, and you go up this ladder thing to get up into the attic. And so I'm like, well, I better check it out, because you don't know if like the squirrels are getting in and going to start chewing on wires or what's going to happen as a result of that. So I went up there and looked around, and this attic was absolutely unused. There were some old things up there that were very old, but like old pillars and stuff, nothing like possessions that I know of. But at any rate, I was just like, well, yeah, I looked around, and there's this coating of dust everywhere. Just it's an unused space. And I looked around, and there was no paw prints, no anything. And I was like, well, there's nothing going on up here. And so I got down and told her, look, there's nothing going on up there. I don't hear anything. I don't see any potential that animals are up here running around. She goes, no, it sounded big, like a raccoon size. I'm like, well, there's nothing up there. It's just a dusty, unused space. And at least if there was something the size of raccoons, I would have seen the paw prints, the little prints. But there was nothing. It was just, there was bats up there. There's plenty of those, but there was nothing to report. So I let her know and said, if you hear it again, let me know. And then it kept happening. She kept telling me, I kept checking, nothing. And one time she called me and said, just come up here and listen. And I went up to her apartment and stood there. You could hear the scratching of like clawed feet running around. It was really impressive. And I tried everything to just see if somehow they were hiding in a way that I couldn't see or whatever, but it was like they were running around all over, and I could never find them. And I even put live traps up there because, I figure, well, if there is something like that up here, I put like peanut butter, bread, any kind of thing I could think of to try to bait it. Grain, nothing. And nothing ever set off the traps. But it wasn't long after that activity just stopped. And so I don't know if it was paranormal per se, but I can tell you that space was absolutely untrodden by anything other than me going up there and seeing my own shoe prints. There was nothing else. So those kind of things are bizarre, but I don't know. Just saying, it's kind of fascinating. Then I was going to do something else too that I thought of, and now I can't remember. But I remembered one thing, so maybe I'll remember the other. I'm going to check the time here. We're at about just a few minutes left, so let's cover another one. Again, that last one wasn't really paranormal, but I did. Oh, I remember what it was. I did see the aftermath of a car getting hit by a train and dragging the car for about a mile because I went over to visit a friend at his house. He lived right by the train tracks, and it happened to stop right in front of their house. And so it was this big hoopla of lots of law enforcement and coroner and cutting apart this car and pulling out this remnants of what used to be a human being. And it was absolutely terrifying. It was like, oh, that's horrible. So I can kind of relate to what this person's talking about. Just being there, you're trying to help out, and you get to witness some things that you just don't get to forget. And I still can remember when they pulled that guy out, how it was like he exploded. It was just horrible. But hopefully it was quick. That's all I can say is hopefully it was quick. And it must have been. It must have been horrible. So, at any rate, beauty is a thing. Beauty is a thing. I think you're almost spelling a flat mountain, though. A butte. All right, 83, give me a hand. One morning, someone using an angle grinder woke me up. I knew it was my younger brother who usually used it to cut stuff. Yeah, that's generally what you do with an angle grinder. People don't just run them to look at it. Wing, wing. I don't know. It's funny to me. Used it to cut stuff. A few minutes later, oh no, I don't want to read this one. That's not something I want to read. Nope, we're not reading that. And there's two reasons why I can't read it. One, because it's going to be gross, and the other one because I actually managed to router off part of my one finger once, and it was a horribly disturbing thing that I got to live through as well. So, oh, you know what? I didn't even ever have the screen up there. Okay, sorry about that. I kind of missed my buttons, but all I can tell you, folks, is it's always an exciting journey here on the portal, and it's even better when you guys are here. So thank you so much for being a part of it. As always, if you're not subscribed, please get subscribed. Would love to have you be a part of what we're doing every time we go live, and make sure to ring the bell so you get notifications when that is. But I'll tell you, the live shows here on YouTube are Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you want to catch live shows, that's when you do it, because that's when I'm doing it. You can check, what do we got, 1,100 and some videos that are recorded on YouTube. So our video on demands, or VODs, we have tons and tons of episodes. And there's playlists that hopefully help to organize the episodes into whatever you're most interested in. But there's lots to see. Great show once again. Thank you. No, thank you, Maggie. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys so much. Thanks for helping me get through the show. I appreciate you guys being my co-host tonight. You guys are always the second co-host. There's no doubt about it. I've always really enjoyed the chat as part of the function of the portal. That's why I refuse to edit the old episodes, because if I edit them on YouTube and take out commercials, then I lose the chat. And that's always been such a big part of the show. So I don't do it. So I hope you understand. If you ever watch the videos on demand on our YouTube page, then understand I don't edit them, because I don't want to lose your part of it. You know, whether it was you directly or not. But anyway, just some thoughts, but check them out. Tomorrow I should have Sheldon here with me, and we'll get into more of the paranormal fun that you've come to love and enjoy here on the portal. So as always, please share these episodes if you enjoy them. Let other people know about the portal, because that makes me smile, makes me think happy things. And I like being happy, so appreciate it. Toodles and miracles, share the giggles, meet me in voice chat and Paranormal Portal Discord server. Yeah, we do have a Discord server, so you can check it out. I don't have it open right now. Otherwise, I'd put a link so that you could join it yourself. But I think you can just search for it and find Paranormal Portal. But maybe it's not that easy. I don't know. But it's a Discord server. Thanks to all of you who've already joined to become a part of that. Oh, there's Sheldon right there. Yeah, there, Sheldon. You're going to be here tomorrow night, right? We'll have to wait for him. Oh, he's getting the Discord link now. So he'll put it up on screen. There it is. He's quick kid. But join the Discord, get involved in the discussions over there. There's lots of fantastic links and articles and videos and all kinds of stuff people are linking as part of our discussions. So all I can tell you right now is remember, I love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other, help each other out, find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. Good night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow night right here on the Paranormal Portal.